Well, hello and welcome to another Evolve Alliance Provider Member Showcase. Today I have with me Santi Burridge from Lumiant. Hey, Santi.
G'day, Sue. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Oh, great to have you within the Evolve Alliance community. Now, for those of you who have been under a rock and you've never heard about Lumiant, I guess there's so many parts of this, but in a nutshell, we love Lumiant because it is a framework, a technology system, a brilliant way that advisors can enhance their client experience away from product and purely financial conversations and really enrich the conversations with clients, leading to better advice and really putting the advisor in a fantastic position to be able to help people live their best life. Santi, is that a good explanation of it?
Yeah, it's great. But look, at the end of the day, we want to hero what advisors do. So my journey's been one of 23 years in the industry and meeting thousands of advisors probably globally. And they're all brilliant. But they've been told that the stuff that they do in that first meeting, that incredible connection that they create with their clients, that relationship, that empathy that they have, is not where you anchor your experience. You anchor it in something completely different. And we wanted to hero advice. We wanted to hero the advisor, and we wanted to create technology that supported that.
Yeah, and you've done just that. And for full disclosure, it's important, I think, that everybody knows I am actually a non-executive director on the board of Lumiant. And I am so passionate about what you're building there, because in my 15 odd years of coaching advice businesses, one of the critical things that I see so often is advice firms who want to move their experience away from product-led. For most of the firms I've been dealing with have been doing that for years. But when it comes down to actually creating a scalable, repeatable, onboarding and engagement system to really help their clients learn a lot about themselves as well as the advisor to do so and then create great advice, there's nothing out there that is a beautiful end-to-end solution. And so for many years, I've gone into firms and I've helped them run projects where they've cobbled together a tech stack, or they've used something over here and then they've created this great set of questions that their advisors use. But it's incredibly time consuming. There's no science or research or knowledge behind it. And a lot of advisors, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they do it incredibly well and they've built some great systems, but then one part of the wheels fall off and that breaks the whole process. We're big believers that the conversations you have with clients are so unique and so individualized to them. And at the same time, the best way to scale a business and do your best work with clients is to create a way that you can systemize that process in order to personalize it. And so, Santi, when many years ago, actually, I've been a board member since November 2021, but years ago, I know you started to try and build this, and I was helping you back then. And then it took a little while to get to Lumiant where it is now. And I'm so thrilled with where you are taking this business and the opportunity for advisors. It's amazing. So what we might do, actually, Santi, I'm going to cut right now. I'm actually not supposed to be the one talking in this, but there you go. I'm going to cut right now to an advisor testimonial, because there's a number of them on the Evolve Alliance platform. I know you've got a lot of advisors already using the system. We're just going to play one of them now so people can hear from somebody that's actually using it with clients.
So my name is Andrew Schbeck. I operate my own business named Creation Wealth, and I've been a senior financial advisor coming on 15 years now. There was and has been quite a bit of chatter around values-based advice, I think, out in the industry. But I think for many people, it's still a buzzword. And it was really trying to understand, what is values-based advice? My thinking was, well, I've got goals. I've asked the clients what's important to them. I've written down their goals. So isn't that values-based advice? But I think, no, it's really shown me a methodology of how do we engage with clients about that conversation? And the challenge, of course, is with the particularly new clients, you don't know them. So it's what framework, how do you go about understanding what's valuable to them? What's the what drives their emotions? And I think, again, someone who's quite process driven and objective, in an ironic way. It's a process that I understand, but enables me. And I think for clients to feel that it's not process driven, it's a genuine conversation and a free flowing conversation to hear about what drives them values, what drives their values, what are the emotional triggers for them. And, that really reveals what's actually important for them. Quite easy. I heard about Lumiant through Santi. So being someone who's been aware of implemented portfolios for a number of years. And look, I think that's one of the great things of when you do start your own business. You've got the freedom to find those partners that truly align with you. And I think there was a lot of aspects around the implemented portfolios business that just aligned with how I believe clients' wealth should be managed. So it was really just a natural extension of already strategy-based advice business already, but taking it to that next level of what's driving our strategy and really working out what's important to our clients. And that's where I see Lumiant is just a natural fit. The reason why I chose Lumiant, I think, is I can really see there's been a lot of thought behind the process and how the tools have been constructed, and it's simplified it, and it's very easy to implement with clients. And what I found is that particularly the values that we talk about with clients, to come down with a succinct group of values that actually covers what most people value, that I think is the value, the uniqueness of the Lumiant system. So it's good that you can take clients through a process that they don't feel something's been missed. And that's where I saw this has got a broad application in our business, and it can be applied to everyone. And that's where really I found that very attractive. What have I found that's changed since implementing Lumiant? I think one of the biggest things is just the depth of conversations we're having. And I think one of the biggest ones, and it's a great example of a client whom I've been working with for 3 years. And essentially these guys, after we went through the Lumiant process, we could look back that we'd been thinking very objectively from both sides, my side and their side, about what our strategy should be for them. So essentially these guys live in a townhouse. We were going down and do more investments. We've always talked about buying them a larger home, but the logic side always said, no, go do the investment path. That's going to meet your longer term goals, as discussed previously. But going through the Lumiant process, we really worked out that actually this bigger home for them, that's actually the most important thing. It actually showed us that for them, that's how they could care for the people they love about. That's how they could invest more in relationships that are important to them. Because basically they came and said to me, actually, the problem we've got with this home we're living in, it's too small for us and we can't do those things. And they could really, both of them, beautifully aligned, their top two values aligned perfectly. And they go, this is the most important thing and we don't feel we're achieving it now. And really it became very clear that, all right, we've got to get you a larger home. And that whole investment strategy that we've been bumbling around with for the last 2 years, that's out the window now. So, and I could see in the clients an ease of going, for them, what they thought wasn't the most logical thing to do, i.e. go buy a larger home with a larger mortgage, was actually going to be the thing that'll give them happiness. And they can see that we can still do other investment strategies. So that fundamentally, changed. As I said, it wasn't knowing what to do, it was just what priority to do things in. And that's what the Lumiant system enabled us to do. We've been using Lumiant in our business. Look, all new clients and going through the Lumiant process. So we've just built it into what we call a foundations meeting with our clients. So it's really our first meeting where we really, once a client's engaged, really get to know them. We tell clients we're going to go through a values exercise, and we explain to clients this is what is going to help us to determine what's the priorities that we're going to work on. For the ongoing clients, essentially any client that we sit down with and go, all right, we've got to come up with a new strategy. I'm saying to the clients, look, I've got a new tool. It helps us to work out, reprioritize what we're doing, and we'd like to take you through it. And I have not had one client say to me, no, I don't want to do it. I think they trust you. And I think that's one thing that we tend to fear, that, what will clients think about us? But we kind of forget, we are our trusted advisor for our clients. So if we say to our clients, and this is what I found is really important, is the way I position it, and I tell the clients, this tool is really valuable for us to understand what your priorities. I don't think, as I think about it logically, no client's going to say, no, I don't want you to understand what my priorities are. So having the confidence and just the posture to tell clients, it helps. They trust us and they go through it and they enjoy the process. My favorite module in Lumiant is the values module, and the ability, of course, with COVID, can't do any face-to-face meetings, but the ease to interact with clients online with it. And that's definitely something that I've seen COVID's done with my business. Pre-COVID, pretty much all my meetings were face-to-face. Right now, 100% are via Zoom. And again, a lot of my existing clients have said to me, Zoom's really convenient for them. So I can see that is here to stay. But to have a tool that is so easy to use, dynamic, interactive, and colourful, it's great. Clients engage with it. So it definitely, you feel, particularly in a digital engagement with a client, it brings a lot of life to the meeting. I believe the future advice is really evolving, that we are almost like a chief financial officer or a personal coach for our clients, because robo-advice is here to stay. I think the era of, advisors picking individual stocks for a client portfolio is over. Computers can do what was traditional advising much better than what a human can do. But I think fundamentally humans still want a human touch in the process. And I think it's about understanding that, we're there to provide that personal coaching and education and discipline just to take clients along a journey. So a lot more personable than it has been in the past. And that's where, the Lumiant values are bringing it to a point of going, a computer can't have a conversation with you about your values. And I think it's giving us advisors more relevance again to engage with clients. Would I recommend Lumiant for other advisors? I like to be selfish and say no, so that we have the competitive advantage. But I think if you don't pick up a program like Lumiant, you're going to become extinct. I think if you're an advisor who's still doing the traditional, my specialty is doing a risk profile and managing your portfolio, computers that can do that. I believe the future is strategy focused advice, but it's really engaging at a emotional level with our clients, and that's what Lumiant enables us to do. So as I said, we're redesigning our processes essentially around the Lumiant process, and because we just think it just gets us on a much better footing with our clients sooner.
Wow, there you go. Fantastic. So Santi, let's dig into this a little bit more. Help us understand, what exactly is Lumiant?
Well, firstly, I hope that testimonial came across as the way it should. We've seen extraordinary outcomes in our first year of operation, and I probably want to hero that conversation first. And we asked our clients after year one what they thought of us. Now, remember, we started a year ago with one module. We're about to launch our 9th. And anyone who started a business, which a lot of these people who are watching this will have been on that journey, will know it's not easy. You make a lot of mistakes. You go down dark alleys. You hit dead ends. You try things that didn't work, all that cool stuff that happens in a startup. I'm doing it, on crack, really, with not with one person, but now 18 staff in the business. So we've gone from 0 to pretty quick. We asked our clients what they thought of us, and this was the coolest part, right? So they said they're getting 5+ more referrals, and I'm going to explain to you how that's happening. They said they're getting better at conversion of leads, and I'll explain to you how that's happening. They're getting more revenue, over $2,000 more per client, and I'll explain to you how that's happening. They're saying they have the ability to serve up to 20 more clients per advisor. So now let's go. We're now getting $2,000 more per client times 20 more clients times profit margins. Pretty cool.
In an environment where we know advisors are harder and harder to find, we're going to have a skills shortage for quite some time.
Let's see this one as a global issue, Sue. I'm passionate about it. I've seen it coming for years. the ability to attract talent to this profession is only going to get harder and harder. And if your proposition is, we really love our clients, but, basically the what of advice, our strategies are better, our product is better, God help us, you're going to struggle to attract talent. But if you're leading with, we help our clients live better lives and we can evidence it, you're going to attract the best young talent in this profession. So there's a lot of sting to the tails of Lumiant and how we built it and industrializing advice. But, I've led with what happened in Lumiant after year one, and we can't imagine what it's going to be like after year two and what our advisors are going to be saying about us. But we set out with a really simple mission. We wanted the hero advice. We believe we've been anchoring our customer journey in the wrong spouse. Now, I've been an advisor for 16 years, so I've got some credo in saying this. When they met me, they met a good guy who cared for them and got to know them and empathized with them and then sold them what they were going to be sold regardless of what they said. Now, that hurts. I sold them what they were going to be sold regardless of what they said. That ain't advice. And that's what I had to realize. We wanted to engage that non-CFO spouse. In my parents' generation, it was her. And this generation, it's shifted. My generation and the next generation's completely shifted, but the non-CFO spouse. And what we knew, if we could engage that person about what was truly important to them in their life, then just maybe we'll see more referrals, more attention, more revenue. And that's exactly what's happened. That person is walking out at an advice meeting with someone who uses Lumiant and telling all their friends. Why? Because they had an extraordinary conversation with their advisor about what was truly important to them in their lives. And the advisor evidenced that they could deliver on that promise. Now, here's the thing. All advisors said, we do that already. We're really great at it. I'm really great at it. No one's better than me at it. Sure, you are, but you have no system to replicate it. And this is, again, it doesn't matter if you're one advisor or 100, and we've got firms that are 100 advisors now signing up with us, particularly in the US market. They get it, right? You've got to have a consistent, repeatable process that's customer-centric. Now, our North Star is your client. Like, we exist to make your client's journey incredible. Now, we know if we make their journey incredible, that you're going to be ecstatic. And so that's the simple pivot we made. We haven't tried to create a better SOA tool. We haven't tried to create a better product. We've tried to create the world's best customer journey that, regardless of the person who delivers it within your business, it's going to create an extraordinary outcome. Now, some real subtleties in it. We reimagined fact finding. So I was trained, and God help me, the crap I used to have to deliver around fact finding, right? Yeah. What you have. Most boring document in the world. Wrong. It's how you both feel. How are you feeling about your financial life now? And what we've built, and it's a subtle pivot in the platform and a really important pivot, that we looked at it and we spent 6 months on this, right? And Sue knows it, $1 million, 6 months, trying to work out how we could create the best journey for a client and advisor. And what we uncovered was, really subtle, was that a profession actually serves, it doesn't sell. Now, I was trained to sell, so I'm going to slow down again. A profession serves, it doesn't sell. I was trained by an industry to sell, not serve. That's okay. What we wanted to create was something where the profession, where the client sells us. So what we've created in our fact-finding process, which is 2 components to the 9 modules on the platform, is the clients telling us everything that's important to them in life. We know everything. We're generating 10 to 20 goals through that experience. Now, the data in Australia and the world is somewhere between 1 to 3 goals per plan, and one of them is retirement.
Yeah, I want to retire at the age of this.
We're generating 10 to 20 per module 1 and module 2. So that takes
it beyond just financial, right? It's not, I want this much.
No, it's everything.
It's things that they want in their life.
It's what they dream of.
Their happiness.
The non-CFO spouse, getting that voice to the table where he or she is saying, this is the stuff that truly matters to me. You wonder why you're getting more referrals. They're telling their friends because no one's having their conversation. They're firing the other advisor. We don't have better products, but we have better way to treat people. And so that was a subtle pivot in the platform. And then we get to the more fun stuff for me. How could we create a repeatable process that regardless of the person that came into your office, that client got an extraordinary experience? So technology must support advice, not product. That's what we built. How could we get young advisors to sound experienced? So attract the right talent, follow the process, you'll engage the client. Now, this is an industry-wide problem globally, attracting talent and then getting them to sound experienced quickly. Now, the way we've traditionally done it is sitting with me for 100 meetings and you'll get to learn my skills and how I handle the objections and all that stuff. No objections. Just follow the process. The client's going to tell you everything that's important to them in their life, young advisor, and you're good to go. And we know from all our experience, if an advisor has done this 5 times with a client, they're an expert. We only need 5. Just do it 5 times. So I guess I've given you a whole bunch of whats and whys in that. But if I think about it for us, we're heroing advice. And we see ourselves, and this is a really important part, so, we see ourselves as an advice delivery platform. Now, I think about this all, if you look at the tech stack boxes around the world, there's great SOA tools and fact finding, and there's SMAs, and there's all this stuff, right? None of it's sort about the customer. Because we're heroing advice, we see ourselves as a way to deliver advice, heroing that, so an advice delivery platform. With our ultimate objective is the advisor, the person watching this webinar, is how could we help you drive more referrals, more revenue, and greater retention? And that's checking the ego at the door. This process is better than I can do it, and follow it, everyone in our office. And wow, there we go, we're off.
Yeah. So talk me through the actual experience as a client. So I get this referral from my friend and I book in, or I call the advisor. I want to come and see them. So what's the first thing that I get as the client?
So again, the first part of that fact-finding process, we have the traditional stuff in there, right? What you have, but we genuinely believe the right way to handle that pre-meeting gathering process is how you're both feeling. So both parties to the relationship, him and her and her, him and him, receive a welcome email from the advisor asking them to complete a 5-minute survey. And that survey is going to identify the cool part about that survey. 16 questions later, the client's written their financial plan. It's already written. They've told you everything that they want to achieve in their life. It's know your client through the roof. It's best interest duty ticked. Informed consent's embedded within it, because the client is saying, I'm educated and this is how I'd like you to care for me. It enables the advisor now to go and say, well, this is the stuff you said was important to you. This is the stuff that drives you in life. Now let's start to see how that impacts your goals. So we're pretty much arming the advisor prior to a first meeting to know everything that those clients want to achieve in their lives, and you've never met them.
And I love that it also gives a baseline. It actually gives a score from the survey that the clients completed. So 10 minutes each of them. There's a couple of things I love about this step. One, there is this beautiful video as part of it that actually positions what they're going to be doing. And I have seen so many firms, it's an excellent time to really articulate what you do. So many firms try to put videos together. They either intend to, never get around to, they do it, and then somebody leaves and it's out of date. So this is done for them. It's got their own brand. And I also love that you get that score. So that baseline level of what this client was, level stage they were at in life, and confidence when they first started to see you, and then you actually end up tracking that over time. So I'm not sure that many advisors are going to have anybody querying whether they want to sign an annual agreement every year with this process, because you have this lifetime journey with them. So client gets that, they complete a bit of info, and it's a really high level, just what you earn, what you owe, what you spend, isn't it? It's not, here's the fact find, tell me everything about you. It's enough so the client's happy to complete it. They're not saying, I don't trust you yet. It's a beautiful, almost a psychological way of helping open that door. And what I also then see in a lot of, because I've watched a lot of videos of advisors doing this, I've sat in meetings, it's fascinating to me that so often it's created conversations between partners that they've never had before. So even doing that survey, ask them questions that they've never reflected on. And then they come in for a first meeting, and you're going to tell me in a minute what you do in that meeting. But the conversations that come out of there, sometimes it's just that no one's ever held space for them to have those conversations together. So the advisors are part of that discussion, And yes, sometimes they extend that further without the advisor, but it's almost a gift for the client. Even if they didn't do anything after that first meeting, which is quite rare, having got to that point has created this excellent outcome for a client anyway, because they've actually started reflecting on what they want, what's really important to them. So yeah, so then talk me through the system for that first meeting. So they've done the survey, the advisor's got this information, they've got a really clear picture of who's coming in to see them. Then what does Lumiant do next?
Hero advice. So we look, I want to be clear, there's no right way to use Lumiant. A lot of different advisors use us different ways. The advisor that is very, very, very attracted us is the advisor who's values-based and loves having the deep conversations with clients. We've codified it and using technology to bring it to life. So it's not sitting in a filing cabinet anymore, it's sitting in the client portal, which is really cool, right? We've got to remember, Lumiant ultimately, at the end of the day, is the customer journey and the customer experience. The advisors who don't love that are going to struggle a little bit to have these type of conversations, but we hope we've created the software again to support them through it too. But ultimately, that first meeting is about trying to identify what drives these clients in life, and that's their values. And so we take them through a fun exercise, at least they think it's going to be fun, where we help them unpack what's truly driving them as a family in life. It can be quite emotive, and that's why I joke about it. You know, we tell them it's going to be fun, trust us, you know, this is what we do here. This is going to help us inform everything that's important to you in your life and what we're going to achieve together. We're the profession, remember, this is the way we operate our business. But you ask someone why that's the most important thing in your life, it's a very emotional statement. And so we capture that. We help, again, the tech supports that conversation. We align their goals to their values. And as I said, we're generating 10 to 20 goals per meeting, minimum 10.
It's a lovely system that enables you to capture it and also unpack, you know, the detail around it and why that goal is important to them. And I would like to touch on that for a second, Santi, because there may be some advisors listening to it. And I should also say this is a webinar, but also it will be a podcast episode. So there will be some vision for those that, if you're not driving in the car or exercising right now, listening to this, you will be able to see videos of the actual portal and what it looks like. But when you have those conversations around goals and you come up with 15 to 20, I think part of the beauty of this is they're not only financial goals, because people in life don't separate out, that's the financial part of my life and that's I want to get fitter, I want to get healthier. It's all part of the one human experience. And so the system enables you to capture all their goals, some of which might not traditionally come up in a financial advice conversation. And yet, while the client is planning their life so that you can create their financial plan, these other elements come to fruition. So rather than pretending that they don't exist or they're not important, you can capture them. And then the system actually then can set tasks where people are going to be accountable for what happens next with those goals. Doesn't mean that the advisor might have much to do with help you get fitter other than help keep you accountable, or if there's a financial implication there. But as we know, whether you be doing risk insurance, sorting out estate planning, so there often is a financial link in some way to most of those human experience type of goals.
Yeah, one of my goals is to go to Western Australia and have dinner with Sue. That's not a massive, financial one, but it would make me very happy. We structure all the goals as financial and non-financial, and that's really critical, because what do I know after seeing so many advisors and their clients and so forth? Clients want to lead their best life. That's as simple as it gets. So we dumb it down. Financial planning, I don't have a better strategy than the next guy. I definitely don't have a better product than the next guy, but I can help lead our clients lead their best lives. And so the tool we've created that falls off the back of that goals-based scenario is, if they're financial goals, can they achieve them? And you talked about it before, Sue. The whole platform scores how people are going towards their life, their well-being, their life, their values, their goals, and their best life. And that's critical, right? Because we can beat that benchmark. I can beat that score. I can show my clients that their best life is on track, that they're leading the life closer to what was important to them. I can prove that. There is no evidence I can prove that I can beat the Morningstar index. There's zero, there's none to back it up. It's not an experience I want to anchor my customer proposition in. I want to anchor in that your life has improved. And so our best life tool, which flows off the back of financial goals, enables the advisor to sit there with the client, predominantly in the first meeting, really quickly, and just say, look, based on what you've just told me, you can live the life that you dreamt of if you're not. Now, we know as advisors that most clients who walk in have no idea. At the end of that meeting, they have some idea, and more than likely they can't get there. I want to have a holiday house. I want to put the kids through private school. I want to support the grandchildren. I want to buy a boat. Cool, great, get it, love it. You're not going to make it. Cool. So that tool is about, if I think about what financial planning is, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have to break things down. It's a series of trade-offs, right? The job of a great advisor is to help clients hit their best life, and best life is a series of trade-offs. I can save more, I can spend less, I can take more risk, I can change the timing of those goals, or I can have changed my legacy outcomes. Now, legacy can be living and in death too, right? So the legacy can be, I want to leave a living legacy while I'm alive and help community and help children or grandchildren or whatever it may be. And then obviously in death, there's a legacy component to any piece of advice. But there's 5 trade-offs. And so that tool's been created to get those 5 trade-offs, bring them to life, give the advisor, the client, the tools to that, the keys to that engine, turn it on, and let's work out a way for you to live your best life. I might need to get you to save more. Or she said you weren't willing to take that amount of risk, but if I could get you to take a little bit more risk, you could retire at 60, not 63. Cool. Now, what just happened in that conversation? That is the world's best risk profile. Now, I know I'm jumping onto the next subject here for me, but I'm going to run with it, Sue. Tell me if I can't. We've had risk profiling all run. There is no regulated legal requirement to do one. And the ones that are done are crap. They're pointless, and she doesn't do them. I'm picking on her as the non-CFO here, but the non-CFO doesn't do them. So they're a waste of time. What's the world's best risk profile? Well, the client said in order to live the life that they dreamt of, they were willing to take a little bit more risk than what they thought they were. And the client said that. And so we've built we've built an educational series of videos. There's 6 videos that the clients watch. Him and her both watch them independently. Again, we want the voice of the non-CFO.
Yep.
They both go through them. They both said that help them understand their options. And once understanding their options, they would like their advisor to consider this in framing their investments. One of them is risk, which ultimately is the number one question you ought to be asking a client. What's your capacity for loss? But if you can educate people, our evidence suggests if you can educate them around their options and they can understand that they can put their kids through private school or have that holiday home or buy that boat or retire early or help the grandkids more or help my charity more, my community more, because I take a little bit more volatility in my portfolio, they will all do it. But we've sold that the wrong way. Ask the clients what they think. Give them the knowledge to make an informed decision off the back of education. They grant you consent. That is the world's best risk profile. It is as simple as it ever needed to be. And so we built that structure now on the platform where once the clients made their decision around the most important to them, we take them back into best life and say, now that we understand that, you can or you can't achieve that. And we score it. And we've really done it in a subtle way, Sue, and people will see it in the demo. But we've thought about this whole different ways, and we've come at it a quite weird way. So the scoring is 0 to 70. You can't lead your best life, right? You're not on track. You need to save more, spend less, take more risk. You're not on track. Retire later. 70 to 90, you're on track. We've set up the guardrails. You are living your best life. You are going to lead your best life. Our job is now to keep you there. We know you're going to hit the guardrails, markets, life, stuff happens. And we'll recorrect when that happens. But now I've got the tool as the advisor to create that course correction. And previously I was going, I don't really know. Check the file note, what was said in it. And then 90 to 100, this gets fun because we don't go over 100. It's not possible to go over 100. 90 to 100, you're going to die with a wad full of money under your bed. Your lawyer's going to be distributing it. Now, is that what you want? No, I want a sense of purpose with my money. Well, let's spend a bit more. Let's help others. Let's grandchildren. Let's think about it, right? So reframing the conversation. And what we haven't talked probably about, Sue, and I keep talking, is compliance, right? What is the world's most compliant advice business model? Well, we spent 6 months building it. designing it. And it's starting with the customer and it's ending with them and living there. And that's all that matters. And if you can evidence that you understood what drove clients in life, you aligned all their goals to those things, and you can evidence that those goals can be achieved, and off the back of education, they made an informed decision on how to have their money managed. Why do we have compliance problems? Like, why do we have compliance? Like,
let's not even go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty much the whole platform.
Yeah, and so within those trade-off conversations, using the typical advisor language, you've got modelling tools, right? So forward projections. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me make one little claim. Important thing here for every advisor listening: projection tools are worthless. They're meaningless, and they're always wrong, right? So, including ours. So, the moment they press the button, it's wrong. It's wrong. It changes, right? Life changes, things changes. We have no idea what the future is going to hold. So what should it do? What should a great projection tool do? It should be Monte Carlo simulated. So it should show real volatility. Done that. It should be able to take into account all the client's particular circumstances, one-off events. Think simple things that tools don't do, like, between the age of 60 and 70, let's spend more because you're younger, you're fitter, you want to travel more, you want to do things. 70 or 80, we're going to spend a little bit less. And if you make it past 80, we're going to spend even more less. But let's have a tool that can able to take into account those generational changes in things like that. And so again, we've kind of kept the technology in the industry has kind of kept those tools away from the client. We wanted to hero it. So the client can log on any time and go, cool, I'm on track. Hey, markets just dropped 15%. I'm on track. Yeah, I'm still living my best life. I'm still there. And a subtlety within that one is, again, something that no other tool has been really interested to do, is we have created the risk profiles within the platform, right, which create the volatility, the standard deviation, and so forth. But we give the keys to the advisor to that. So the advisor can put their assumptions in. So the firm, probably if you're one advisor firm, you can do it, or your licensee can do it. But if you're a 10 advisor firm, your own AFSL, you've got your own models, right? Yeah. And you know what your expected returns are. Now, I could argue today that expected returns are pretty low. Markets are at all-time high or close to it. But if they drop 30%, expected returns are going to go up. And so a great projection tool would take that into account. Hey, portfolio's gone down, returns have gone up. So though your market portfolio is down, you're still on track because we're now expecting higher returns. And it's such a basic thing that nothing's been able to do before because it hasn't been facing the customer.
Yeah.
So what we've done is brought that to life. So when the customer can log on, the client logs on, they see they're okay. And that's all they want. Right?
Absolutely right. And I think people are really visual too. So when you do start talking about those financial decisions, then being able to track, okay, well, this is the impact that my advice is going to have with all of the disclaimers. But two things that I've seen quite lacking, particularly in the Australian advice market. One is that the only really comprehensive tool that's been available has been so difficult to use. And sometimes even the advisor has to get a really technical paraplanner in to be able to make it work. Or the flip side, those that have been easy to use, they've only been single strategy. So this actually incorporates all of the different opportunities and outcomes within the one tool, and it's client facing. So it's quite simple to use. All right. So in terms of the actual portal, one of the things that I get asked all the time, and it is critically important, is you don't just want another system, right? Everyone's spending a butt ton of money on whatever financial planning software they've chosen to use, whether that's been it's financial planning software that happens to have a dodgy CRM, or whether businesses have gone, no, I'm picking a great CRM and bundling their advice software into it. This is about saying, well, Lumiant, if you think of that as being whatever system you've got is your financial planning back office system, this is your client-facing system. So clients will log into this. There's a vault in there, isn't there? So they can save their SOAs and their wills and all of that sort of thing. Never again do you need to be risking emailing PDFs, even if you've got it encrypted and they've got to put their date of birth in there. That's not too hard for people to hack. So you could just send a link and the information's in the portal protected. So in terms of having those two systems talking, right? Because we know that utopia is never having to double data entry. One piece of information goes in one system once and it automatically gets updated between. What sort of integrations have you got?
So that should be a non-negotiable. And it hasn't been in Australia. Around the world, it's much more developed. But CRM, talking to your financial planning tool, should be, as why are we debating that? So we've done that. Started with Xplan, making sure that that's fully integrated, and really the high level stuff. And we don't really need to integrate a lot. The output of our platform is put into a high fidelity PDF, and probably haven't talked about that, but I don't want to understate what we built there. Anyone who understands technology, and I've experienced this now multiple occasions in the US market, they've gone, wow, we know how hard what you just created. So at the press of a button, could we create a high fidelity PDF that heroed the advice that just occurred in that meeting? We've done that. The press of a button, could we do it in a Word document? We've done that. Why a Word document? Absorb it into Xplan, put it into SOA. You know your client is through the roof. It's now the product recommendation time. And so we've done those integrations to make it simple. CRM is really easy for us to integrate with because CRMs are built in open infrastructure and open API, so not really a problem. We're a tech firm, right? Let's be clear. We're a technology firm. If we're working with other good technology firms, it's easy. If we're working with firms that aren't very good at technology integration, we're going to have the same problem. But we stand out, we stand loud and proud on our own, Sue. What we've created doesn't exist. And I know we haven't talked about this yet, but we wanted to create a pricing infrastructure, and we spent a lot of time going down some dark alleys on pricing to try and get this right. How could we, within 10 seconds, an advisor going on and saying, I understand what this costs, and is it valuable? Would I pay more than I'm currently paying for what I've already got? And another additional cost that I'm already paying. Would I see value in that within 10 seconds? And I guess I go back to where we started. We think we've achieved that. And clients after year one of lots of mistakes, who had one module a year ago and now have 9, are saying they're getting more referrals, more retention, more revenue, and serving more clients because they finally got technology that supports advice, not product sales, not meaningless documents. The SOA, quite frankly, is as absolutely as useful as the doctor giving me my MRI and saying, Santi, what do you think? I've got no friggin' idea, right? Tell me, that's what I'm paying you. We create these documents that are worthless, that aren't about the client and never going to be read again. We just wanted to hero the advice component of that incredible human connection advisors do create with their clients.
Yeah. So for those that can't visualize it, the system, Lumiant, will allow you to bring that whole client conversation to life. Just on the fact find bit, I'm going to come to the SOA piece, but on the fact finding bit, you see there's the really high level right at the beginning, and then throughout the rest of the process, then there is the way to get the rest of the factual data about the client's information, right? Do you want to talk quickly about how we do that?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit excited about it because we're actually launching it this month. So I don't know, Sue has even seen it. So Your Governance, it's called. So we're redefining fact finding in the traditional sense. So we've already refined it in the non-traditional sense. So we made it about the non-CFO, about how people feel. But what they have, it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And, this is a cool part about working in a company like this that's trying to, one has great people who can deliver cool things, but is trying to shake up and create stuff that the advisors have just been dreaming about. But in essence, Your Governance module is the ability for us to design a high fidelity family tree in the infrastructure, their asset tree in the infrastructure, and we're taking it one step further to the legacy tree. What do I mean by the legacy tree? Bring the will to life. Now, this is really important about the concept of a break glass platform. So we wanted to create something that the client is never going to leave you, the advisor. They're never going to leave because you just know too much. And the governance infrastructure enables to capture all that traditional fact-finding, boring stuff in a beautiful design, and hero that part again in the platform.
So the inputs, people can sign up and authorize, because you got Yodlee feeds and different feeds that will extract data from super funds, bank accounts, investment accounts.
Yeah, so at the time, I'm looking at the date here. So for everyone watching, we're really proud Australian startup. We started with nothing, no clients. We've launched in the States. We've got clients in New Zealand. We got pilots launching in South Africa, conversations in Scandinavia and the UK. We needed a global partner. So we launched that component with an Australian partner. They're fantastic, but we needed someone who was globally. So you use the term Yodlee. That's exactly the firm we've signed up. Yodlee's a subsidiary of a group called InvestNet out of Chicago. And we've done a global deal with them. So that gives us global infrastructure. We get the power of Yodlee globally to bring in that information as required at the press of a button. Now that's cool, right? That is really cool. But I want to make a really important point here. This is for everybody who's thinking about it, thought about it, maybe 5 years ago, listened to me and I had it all wrong. I've got no evidence to back up that clients actually log on to this stuff. So in the US, 2% of clients are logging onto their investment platform to see what they've got. 2. A lot of conversations I have with advisors go, oh, do you have that? That's really cool. Yeah, we've got it. And it's really cool for you. Your clients don't value it. They're not going to log on to see their net wealth daily. They're not going to log on to see how their bank accounts move daily. They're just simply not going to do that. And so we've had it wrong. We've looked at it through the wrong lens. Again, I was part of the problem. I can think of audiences I stood in front of and said, this is the next thing. That's about what you have.
Yeah.
And the game is about how they feel and are they okay.
Yeah. But it's an important part of your process. So it is more of it's effective for us because we then don't have to sit down and ask you.
It's supporting advice. Yeah, we're supporting advice, but I want to be really clear what you're thinking about your tech stack. And if you're listening to this, lead with the customer. They want to lead their best life. Don't lead with, I've got to work out how to data aggregate my multiple bank accounts into one place. There's no evidence to support they will actually care about that. We care about it more than they do.
Yeah. Yep. So then continuing on then to the SOA. So yes, you suck in all of that data. It gives you the information you need so you don't have to waste time talking about account numbers and so forth. When you do get to the point of then providing, because we still live in a compliant world, when you are providing your financial advice, yes, you need to give this document that's a statement of advice. That then you continue to use whatever software you're using now. And when it comes to the data around clients' current holdings, I know for many they'd be using a particular system that's already sucking data feeds in from their super accounts and so forth, and that populates into the SOA. Does Lumiant replace that part of it, or how does that marriage work?
Look, I mean, we created I talked about it before, a really high fidelity proposal document thing, and we call it the life book, right? So it's everything that's important to the client and what they just took us through the meeting. And again, we're pressing that at 30 seconds to produce, which in my mind, and I don't mean to confuse the conversation here, but please listen very carefully to what I say now. We're creating the world's best statement of advice. It's just got no product in it. Here's everything we're now working on to help you live the lives that you dreamt of. And here's everything, or here's our goals we've achieved. And here's the tasks we're working on. We're capturing all that for them. We still need to go into a product recommendation. That's not our business. We're not encroaching onto that turf. That's not what we do as a business. Others people want to do that stuff. We don't value it. We'll stay out of it. Yeah, there are tools there for that. And God help me, I don't want to create a better SOA tool. I want to get rid of SOAs personally.
Oh yeah, well let's not go there. Not yet. So that is fine, that whatever advisors are using, they continue to use that component of it, and that will then be saved in the client's vault. But as we know, yes, they'll read it, Mr. Compliance Man, and yes, they'll understand the advice they're giving, but now they're going to understand it in better context around the impact it's going to have on the client. Awesome. Now, I want you to go into pricing in a second, Santi, but can we just close that loop? At the beginning, you were telling me about the things that your advisors have been saying it's achieved for them in this even first year of use. You said, I'll confirm that. So they're already getting 5 more referrals per couple. Yeah. Right.
Per advisor.
Now it's per advisor. So it's so much easier now to understand why that might happen, because you take someone through an incredible experience and they're going to talk about it, especially that non-CFO spouse. What were the other elements that they are achieving?
So greater retention, greater revenue.
Yeah, greater retention. Yes. Greater
ability to serve more clients.
Yeah.
And, we've talked to, there's some more anecdotal stuff underneath that type of, and we've got that information if anyone wants it. But, think about your review meeting now, and the client's coming in after 12 months. So we're now getting through this stuff. So we're starting to learn more about our business because it's happening, right? So we're checking in on their life. Their scores have gone up. Good. They're more confident about their things because of our advice. Aren't we good? Their well-being's improved. Their values, they're feeling more confident about. Their values aren't changing. What we're starting to see is that their priorities of their values are changing. So, for example, I'm coming in to see an advisor. I want to feel confident in my finances. After a year, I'm hoping that client is feeling more confident in their finances. So their priorities of what's important to them is shifting because of the great job the advisor's done. If we think about anchoring an experience in something we can control, that's it. Now, let's check in on your best life. How are you going to that? Any guardrail hits? No, good. We're on track. Fantastic. My job now is to keep you there. You keep using me because I keep you there. Got it. Love you. And you just think about the sales process of driving better attention, driving more revenue. If I can help you achieve everything in your life, would you pay for this? Of course I would. Cool. So if I can help you outperform the benchmark, would you? Come on, get out. So it's leading with it's streamlining back office. We've been told we're saving 2 hours per client cycle by using our software, because we've got software that supports the advice process, it streamlines it. Things like
just an example of that I might share, because I know
I was about to share an example.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping the gun. I know in my experience, one of the biggest things advisors complain about is file notes. They're either good at it or really, really bad at it. For some of them, it's taking them an hour after a meeting. I've even heard 2, which is mental, but an hour after a meeting to capture all of the file notes from the discussion. And then that is if they do it straight after the meeting before they go into the next one. So how good a quality are the file notes? With Lumiant, you're actually putting information in as the client's saying it. There's also a little button, which I love, a little part of it, that is voice to text. So it's the Google engine that sits behind that. So you can actually capture the client saying it, and it transcribes it immediately. So that then there are usually some little tidy up bits that you would add. We covered this, in your file note, but it's that will be reducing. If it used to take you an hour to do a file note after a discovery meeting or a first client meeting, I reckon you'd be hard pushed to be taking longer than 10 minutes to finish it at the end of the meeting. So there you go. That's my example.
That was mine too. It's world's best compliance though.
Yeah.
So you literally press record, it records it, as Sue said, stores it to the voices in the tech stack. Client said, and now not only the voice, it's the text. So, 19 out of the 20 words is
audio as well.
Yeah. So 19 out of the 20 words is about right. Like even when I do it, there's a word that but who cares? Like you're never going to get sued because you got a word wrong. You're going to get sued because you didn't understand your client and what was important to them. You can't have evidence that they understood it. If I've got their voice saying they understood it, it's going to be pretty hard, right? Let's be honest, for something to go wrong, notwithstanding in our process, it's kind of almost impossible for something to go wrong because all we do is align our advice to what the importance to the client, not to us. So, it's a pretty compelling argument.
Yeah. So let's finish on the pricing. What, for all of this, what's it going to cost me?
We just charge a license fee per advisor and a small fee per support staff. Why support staff? We want to make sure that they have their own access to the platform. Anything they do, we can audit trail it, critical. So support staff is anywhere between $300 to $600 a year. And the advisor license is anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 a year. That's for one license, bigger firms, different conversations, obviously. But again, that's the return of investment of Lumiant conversation. At the top end, would you pay $6,000 to have this as your customer journey for every client, where you're going to get more referrals, better retention, more revenue? We wanted to price it in such a way that we felt a bit premium, because we think we're premium. But at the same time, we wanted
that's like one new client. Right.
And we wanted to also price it in a way where the advisor could go, what I hate to say we sound cheap. I never want to say that, really. We feel like we've got a premium product, but the advisor can look at it and go, that's a great value for money.
Understand that it is part of an ecosystem of advice costs that have been going through the roof. So this is not about gouging because there's nothing else in the market. I think it's a really smart pricing strategy.
I want the advisor to say it's actually a costless proposition. Like everything else in our tech stack costs us money. This doesn't. Like this is actually a revenue creation tool.
Without a doubt.
And that has been our objective since day one. We just have iterated the pricing as we listen to our customers, but the advisors. But we're finding very little issue with that pricing model.
No doubt. So some of the hygiene factors, you've got the highest level of cybersecurity and data encryption. For those who are working with a licensee, do they need to have their licensee approval to use this? It's not actually an advice documentation.
That's an customer engagement process up front and ongoing. The whole tech stack's built on Amazon Web Services cloud, so they have the highest level of encryption in any technology in the world. AWS, everyone knows Amazon, right? So that gives us a pretty competitive advantage that is built on the latest tech and with the highest security.
Yeah.
All the Australian-based advisor information is stored in the cloud in Australia.
Yes. Yeah. And my last question I have for you, or maybe it's a statement, I'm known for that, but one of the things that I've seen advisors as they start using Lumiant is they first look at it as a tool to win new clients with. And the reality of where we're at in the market at the moment is I don't know a single advisor who's struggling to find new clients. If anything, they've got waiting lists because it's, they're inundated. But in actual fact, when advisors actually see it, it's usually something that they start rolling out with their existing clients the minute they're experienced or to have some training in how to use it, because they're looking at their month ahead and they've got anywhere between 10 and 25 reviews due to come in. And some of them are clients that have been with them for years and years and years, and they may just be having another conversation about golf, or they may be having a conversation about the markets, whatever they used to do. This takes that conversation to a level of on steroids. And the number of times I'm hearing advisors say, I've worked with that client for 15 years and I learned new things about them. And I think they learnt new things about one another in that one meeting I had when I started utilizing this process. So is that what you're seeing across the board with the advisors, that they're getting their existing clients onto, yes, obviously the new clients that would win, but.
Yeah, let's be really clear on this one. And I know nobody does this intentionally, and I know all the advisors are brilliant at it, but we're targeting that non-CFO who haven't had a voice, who are bored shitless listening to the traditional conversation around product and stuff. And I know advisors say, don't have that conversation. You don't have it because it's boring.
Yeah.
Let's create a structured process that the non-CFO is walking out of that meeting 10 foot tall. And so every advisor who's using us is coming into their review meetings. We actually train them. We've got the best advisor coaches in the world, all the way from a gentleman by the name of Mark Tucci out of Detroit, who I approached and believe is the best advisor I've ever met, full stop, and die in the ditch on that statement, to the people like Elixir, who can then actually do much more robust training with firms and take them through the journey of how to use it. We dumb it down. What we encourage the advisors to do is get their best 5 clients in and tell their best 5 clients that we've created a really new, cool thing, and our new clients are getting it, and the new clients are loving it, and we wanted to share it with you and get your feedback. Now, we all know our best clients love you already, so they're not going to go harsh on you. What we're finding is that the best clients are going, wow, I love this, amazing, incredible experience. Clearly have both parties into that relationship in the meeting. And at that point, any advisor is sitting back going, why was I ever doing it any other way than this? A lot of advisors have thought of it, dreamt of it, wished for it. No one's built it for them.
Goodness me, it's near on impossible to do that. Well, it is within a firm. I mean, how many millions of dollars has it taken you so far to build it?
4 million.
Yeah, and there's further investment going in. Can you share any of the sneak peeks of the next few elements that are being released? I feel like we don't even need to, because what's there in the 9 modules now is phenomenal.
Yeah, well, commercially got a lot of really exciting things going on. So again, for those people listening who love the Aussie battler stories, that's us, and we're taking it globally, and we've got some really cool partners about to join the firm. Let's talk about that. That's going to supercharge us even further. But from a technology perspective, I talked about the governance infrastructure and that module that's coming, that's going to redefine the traditional fact-finding process. Really excited about that. We're launching the ability to nudge the client through the platform, so to remind them of things that are important to them. Either, the advisor sets it up every month, or I need something done to connect to the client through the platform. So what are we doing by that is we're getting the client back in to engage with you through the platform. So you talked about that, the great risk savings of using technology that way instead of the email way. So that's, notifications through the platform, bringing video into the platform. So the ability to, again, hero advice. So the advisor can record a video of all the things we've achieved using the tech stack. Hey, we've ticked off all these tasks. We've done all these goals. This is what we're working on now. I can't wait to see you for our review meeting. Hero advice in a video context. And we're really playing with the concept here that the more we use video, the more we use video. And so technology's got to support a hybrid advice environment now. And so we've already built that, but bringing video in to record the successes and share that with your client. I'm going to be a bit subtle here, but record your statement of advice, record your record of advice, the spoken word. I don't think that'll sound so innovative shortly. So we think those type of things are close on our agenda, and there's probably a heap more that I'm not thinking about. But the roadmap doesn't stop until we get to the end of that journey. We can't make a better client experience, then we stop building. And
we won't stop. So Santi, all right, I have no doubt that people are just clamoring to find out more if they're not already using Lumiant. So what are the best steps for people to do that?
So via the website, new website you should buy all the time. This is released, you'll see that. Book a demo, there's lots of YouTube links. The team's here, there's a customer success team ready to support you. Again, we've set the business up so it's easy to work with. All the training's online, all the support and materials online. You can literally press the button and go the next day on it. And if you hit a roadblock, then you reach out to us and we assist you.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, hey, Santi, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a provider member in the Evolve Alliance. We love bringing innovative and fabulous things to advisors, and this is at the very top of my list. So great to see you. Good work. Keep it up. Changing the face of advice is fantastic.
Thanks, Sue. Hope to see you all soon.